Hi everybody, it's Karen from Scrappy Connect Studios, and I'm here today for DCWV to share a quick little tutorial on creating one of these tent cards designed to be reusable by the recipient. So let's get started. One of my favorite new products from DCWV are these beautiful DIY project stacks. They come with instructions on creating 3 different projects, so the instructions are at the back, but they're so beautiful and they have all these great elements in it that it can inspire you to create all sorts of different projects. So I'm going to actually show you one that isn't in the instructions today and was inspired by these beautiful little pieces here at the front of the stack. So let's talk about what else you're going to need though. You'll need a little bit of adhesive, so I'm going to just use some score tape. You'll need some foam adhesive squares. These are going to give the dimension and hold up parts of your card, some scissors, and a little bit of ribbon for some decoration. I'm also going to be using my cutting board, and you'll need a scoring board as well. So the first thing we're going to do is use one of these pretty double-sided pieces of paper. It's one of the best things about these DIY stacks to just create the base for our card. So all I'm going to do is slide my paper in here into my paper cutter, and I'm going to cut at the 5.5 inch mark. This is going to give us a standard A2 card that's going to fit in an A2 envelope. So now I've got my little piece and I need to grab my scoring board. All right, so what we need to do now is just score. So we're going to score here at the 4-inch mark and the 8-inch mark. Essentially what we're doing is creating 3 equal sections for your card. So if you don't have a scoring board, don't worry about it. Just measure off 4 inches and 8 inches and then just create a fold at each of those different spots. So we'll just kind of take my bone folder and just tighten up the crease right here. And then we'll move this out of the way. And essentially what we've kind of created is the tent card now. So we're going to do a little bit of embellishing that's going to allow the tent card to actually stand up, and you get this shape right here for the card recipient. So I think I mentioned that these little cards at the front of the stack were what inspired me to create a card in the first place. So I'm just going to cut these apart here, and I'm going to show you how I'm going to use them to not only mat the front embellishments, but then also to create the little standing piece, or the piece that sticks up and holds my tent card in place. So I'm going to use this polka dotted piece right here. Now this piece is actually at 6x4 is just a little bit too big for my card, so we're just going to cut off the edge here. We're going to cut this off at 5 inches. I'll hang on to that, and then we're going to trim this down to 3.5, and that'll give us a perfect little matted spot for our paper like that. Now this little piece is what I'm going to use on here to actually prop up my tent card, but I think I need it to be a little bit wider. So what we'll do is we'll just get this all attached first, and then I'll show you how we'll create that. So I'm going to grab my score tape, and we'll just flip over this little piece of paper here, find the end of my tape, just pull off the strip. I love score tape, it's really easy to work with, and right here like that. And we'll just pull off the ends and mat this right onto the front like this. And just line it up in the middle, just eyeball it. It's pretty easy to get it in the center. Okay, now this is the little piece I want to go down here. I love using the same pattern paper because it ties the front and the back together. But I need it to be a little bit wider, so I'm just going to take another one of these pieces that are left over from what I trimmed earlier, and I'll just cut this at about 1 inch. And again, it's 6 inches, so it's too long. So we're going to trim it down to 5.5. And then we'll just adhere this piece onto there and the other one on. So again, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to grab my foam adhesive this time. So this is the piece that you actually want to stick up a little bit on your card so that it holds the front of the card in place. I'm not sure if that makes sense, but I'll show you what I mean in a minute. So I'm just taking 4 of these little foam adhesive tabs, and we'll just take off the sticky part. If you have foam tape or any kind of dimensional adhesive, that will work. And we'll put this right in the middle here. Perfect. Okay, and then we're just going to add some dry adhesive onto the back of this as well and get it right down onto the card, and then I'll show you how everything comes together. Oh, there it is. Disappeared underneath my paper cutter. I'll just find the end, just pull a strip off, and you want the leading edge to be really well adhered, but the edge closest to the end of your card doesn't really matter. So I'll just put this on there and Just glue that right in the middle. I'm about 1/4 of an inch up from the bottom of the card. And then when you stand up your card, whoops, mine's going to fall over because I haven't kind of played with my folds yet. Essentially that little part that sticks up, maybe I'll turn it to the side so you can see, is what's going to hold the tent card in place, just like that. Hopefully that angle helps you to see basically the result of the card a little bit better. All you have to do is play with your fold a little bit and you'll get this pretty standing card. And then when you open it up, we're going to create a little writing space in here so that the recipient can actually trim that off if they want to, keep your message, and then reuse the card for somebody else. So we'll just close it up like that and we'll embellish the rest. So if you'll remember, the whole idea behind this card is that they can trim off this bottom piece and use the top piece to reuse the card and give it away. I've fussy cut all of these little pieces out of the stack, cut some little banner pieces, added some ribbon onto the top of the card, and just used a bit more of my foam adhesive just to adhere the pieces and give a bit more dimension. So the card essentially looks like this. But if you want to be able to write a message on the inside and you want the recipient to be able to reuse the card and add another message so that they could cut it off and keep this piece, you want to add a couple of little spots to actually write on. So I've just cut white cardstock at 4 inches by 2 inches. And I'm just going to adhere that piece right here, just like this. And this next piece for right here is 4 inches by 3 inches. So it's 4 by 3. And again, I'm just going to take some dry adhesive and get this on here. Again, this top piece, not this piece, but the other piece, the intention of that is to leave it blank so that your recipient could cut off this bottom piece, keep the message from you, but you reuse the card for somebody else. It's kind of like a gift in the card in that way. So you want to make sure that there's 2 writing spaces available. So I'm just going to line up this little piece of cardstock, white cardstock, with the gray paper that I used. We'll just glue that down and we'll just use some more adhesive and get this next piece. And we'll just want to make sure it's right on the end so these pieces don't catch an edge when your recipient is opening the card or using the card. Then we'll just take this little leftover piece and plunk it down in the middle. Pull these pieces off. And then just line up this piece nicely right here in the middle. I've got a little piece sticking off there. Perfect. There we go. And I think I'll add this little flower on here just to kind of finish things off, and again pull in the color from the front of the card to the back of the card. So just grab a little more dry adhesive. You could use a little piece of foam adhesive here too if you wanted to. And we'll just put this down right on the corner, kind of overlapping, and just want to see what this looks like when I close it up. Oh, see, my flower's kind of half sticking out. I don't really like that. So I'm just going to reposition the flower so that when the card is kind of standing, the flower isn't sticking out like that. That's better. Much better. Okay, so essentially you've got this beautiful little card, this little second part the person could remove, keep the message from you, and then re-gift the card to somebody else. I think it's a beautiful project to give away to somebody. I hope you've been inspired to try something a little bit different with these DIY project stacks. For more information, come visit us at the DCWV.com blog.